I can almost 100% guarantee you that Let's Talk Elections is not going to make a video about this. Trump reports outraising Biden campaign in April, but Dems maintain cast advantage. So basically, they're talking about how Donald Trump's actually taken the lead, in fundraising in the month of April, according to unofficial reports from both campaigns. And even though we won't be able to see these numbers, officially verified until July, more than likely these would be the correct numbers, usually reporting from the campaigns and the official results from the FEC tend to be pretty in line with each other in previous cycles. And so what's pretty interesting is that Joe Biden, clearly this is a bad sign, and this is actually making me believe more and more that Donald Trump is in fact headed for a landslide victory because of the fact that Donald Trump has now actually outraised Joe Biden. While Joe Biden is the incumbent president, by the way, because if you look at this in 2020, Donald Trump, for a brief period of time, was actually raising money since like 2017, for his campaign. He started his reelection bid very early on, and like literally in 2017 of April, basically. And so over time, Trump was, gaining steadily but surely, but Biden was able to catch up fairly quickly and surged during the basically the later months of the election cycle, basically getting to about $1 billion in fundraising. And Donald Trump was sitting around 77.4 million votes, so around $774 million raised in fundraising. And so pretty much this basically shows you guys where everybody's at. Joe Jorgensen's all the way down at basically $3 million. Hawkins doesn't even show up. He literally raised $500,000, the entire cycle. But you can see that Biden did have the fundraising advantage at the end. But if Biden was starting with the fundraising advantage, and now Trump's actually, starting slowly but surely, actually outraising him each and every month, if Donald Trump has the fundraising lead, this election is going to be very easy because even, to add on to the case in New York, the latest poll shows Joe Biden only up in the state by 9 points, which in their last poll from last month in Siena College, the exact same poll with even more of a bigger sample, by the way. So this has an even bigger sample. Biden's actually decreased his lead by a point. Donald Trump actually gained a percentage point in this poll. And so if Joe Biden were to only be winning New York by that amount, you could expect states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania to be completely gone for him. He'd be winning the Rust Belt by over 5 points. He'd be winning Georgia by a pretty insane amount. Arizona, Nevada could potentially even enter the plus 10 column at that point. Like they would be huge margins in their column. But, if Donald Trump really has the fundraising advantage over Joe Biden, at the end of this election cycle, unlike, Let's Talk Elections likes to claim, Trump's path to victory would actually be really straightforward. If I was Trump's campaign manager, literally, this is exactly what I would tell him to do. I wouldn't even tell them, you could say, okay, maybe New Mexico's on the table, Virginia's on the table. I'd say he's got Florida and Texas. I'd tell him, don't even worry about those. You could campaign there, put a little bit of money in them for basically shits and giggles. But other than that, you literally don't need to put money here at all. New Hampshire, I wouldn't even worry about that state. I wouldn't even worry about Maine. Minnesota, don't even worry about it. I mean, you could test the waters there, but I mean, unless his internals show it really close or him leading by a decent amount, I wouldn't put money there. So let's actually put that in the likely Democratic column. New Mexico, you could put some money in there, but not a lot. Virginia, I'd actually tell them to put a decent amount of money there. I'd actually tell them to put a pretty decent amount because possibly he may be able to, actually possibly take the state. It depends, but basically from Youngkin actually winning the governor's race there, I'd be a little bit more optimistic about putting money there. North Carolina and Georgia, maybe not North Carolina. North Carolina, he really doesn't have to put a lot of money in. Nevada, I'd even tell him to really not even put money into it. I mean, he could put some, but I wouldn't even tell him to put a lot. Arizona, I think he should put a lot of money there. I think he should put some money in Georgia, but it's not really that important. And here, he definitely needs to be putting the most amount of money, especially in a state like Pennsylvania. I'd actually even tell him not even to put that much money in Michigan because, the state, the Israel Hamas thing with all those voters basically defecting from Biden, that pretty much cements, the entire thing for Donald Trump in Michigan. Like whatever voters he would have needed to have gotten by putting extra money in here, he basically gets them with the fallen turnout with the Israel Hamas conflict from those Democratic, support groups. He even won in total primary votes in the state of Michigan. And so I think he shouldn't put that much money in here. I think the states he needs to put the most money into are Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Arizona, because if he takes these three and he takes Pennsylvania, he can at least get like to 290 something, he could at least get a 290 because I think 272 is still like too small of a victory. I think that Donald Trump would really have to do a little bit better than this in order to really ensure that nothing would happen at the electoral college or anything could possibly happen while they confirm the results. So if I was campaign manager, I would literally tell him put all your money in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona. That will get you to at least 290 electoral college votes. You could see here he would get a 291, and I feel like that'd be enough of a comfortable victory for him to be just fine. LTE is not going to tell you that if Trump has more money than Biden by the end of the cycle, that Trump more than likely will win in a pretty big landslide. This is just assuming that the election is going to be a very narrow election, which actually I don't have it being very close. I actually have it being a very big victory for Donald Trump as of right now. He's currently winning with about 323 electoral votes, according to my latest model, to Joe Biden's 213 electoral college votes. So it is a pretty big, election difference this time around. I have him winning Minnesota, I have him winning Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia are foregone conclusions, including Arizona and Nevada. I even have him winning Nebraska second. I also meant to say that 215 electoral votes for Biden. So this is currently not the exact margins, but I'll just fill them in so you guys can see the actual results. But this is where I currently think the election stands as of right now. And if Donald Trump's really outraising Joe Biden, states like New Mexico, Virginia, Maine at large, even New Hampshire could even come into play. And so, really, if you're looking at my results and you're looking at polling data, the real swing states this cycle, New Mexico, the polling's not under 5, and neither is New Hampshire, but Virginia is. Maine at large is, Nebraska second is, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. All the polls are under 5 points, and so if you were to actually look at the polling averages, all of the states that have their polling averages below 5 points are all of these states up here, which would be Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maine at large, and Nebraska second. And that puts Trump at 268 electoral votes. Joe Biden literally sits at 200 electoral votes based on all of the states, with their basically all the states that are filled in, their polling, average has it above 5 points for either candidate. And so this puts Trump in a very strong position to win. And if he's really outraising Biden, every single month for the next couple of months, he could literally just pick off Pennsylvania and pretty much call it a day. He could even pick up Nebraska second and tie and call it a day, or just get the state of Maine at large and literally call it a day too. And so that is basically it for this election analysis. I kind of wanted to do a quick video on Trump basically outraising Biden this month. I figured Let's Talk Elections was not going to do a video, so I felt like I had no choice but to do it because he is not an honest reporter on the data and all the political news. So I felt like I had to be the one to make this video. And so if you guys did enjoy it, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure you go ahead and follow Twitter and join the Discord in the description down below. And I will see you guys very, very soon.